Hey guys, it's Justin from Team 53. Just stopping in to give you a race recap from the SARA Super Series race at South Boston this last week. We ran pretty well, and if you had told me where we were going to finish at the beginning of the night, I would have been super happy with that. But it still kind of didn't really feel like uh, it felt like we could have had a better finish, and there were just a couple times where things happened in the race that really kind of took us out of contention to have a good finish, and that's something that we really have to work on going forward. But we'll kind of circle back, and we got one more week of Super Series before the off season, so we'll see what we can do. But if you are looking to get any sim racing equipment, get into iRacing, maybe need to upgrade your equipment, head over to impelmotorsports.com. They help me out whether it's on the real race car stuff or the sim racing stuff. They're a huge supporter of mine. So let's head over there and give them a little bit of love. And then if you guys are looking to support us for our local racing here in Wisconsin, there's some merch for Team 53. You can scan this little QR code here in the lower corner with your phone, and it'll take you right to our website. There's some other links for social stuff in there too, ways that you can support us. So without further ado, let's give this a go. So we head out here for qualifying, and I've been waiting until later in the session to go just to kind of give me a little bit better picture of where I need to be qualifying wise. And it seemed to work out really well for me. At least I know what lap time I need to run, and this week was no different. Qualified in 25th fastest out of I think 29 cars, 30 cars. So we would have 29 cars. We would have been in no matter what. We were good. Even if it had been a full field, we would have been all right. So I knew the race was going to be a little more difficult for us, especially on a mystery week. So we didn't know where we were running ahead of time for this track. And John wasn't able to make this week's race. So for me, qualifying and even the race was really, really important, especially because I hadn't updated the South Boston Super Late Model set in quite a while. So we were kind of using some old stuff here and just kind of going off what we had, which puts us at a little bit of a disadvantage, but it's also one of those things where it's kind of cool to see how quickly we can come up with something and where we end up there. So that's kind of what we did for this one, and we rolled off P25. I kind of had thought early on I was just going to kind of sit towards the back and just kind of ride and let guys do whatever they could. It's South Boston, and wrecks happen so quickly here, and when things happen, it really creates a big pileup. So we were just going to kind of ride and kind of see where things took us, and I really wasn't looking to do a whole lot, and that approach really, really worked well for us last time out. And it was something that I really wanted to work hard to keep myself disciplined enough to where that would happen again. So just kind of riding here and waiting for the magic to happen. And this first run ended up being a really, really long run. I think it was like, you know, 30 laps or something like that. We got a really nice green flag run here at the start. And then, ultimately cautions happen. I don't think the 67 got into him. I think he just got loose on exit, caught the fence. It happens, even in Super Series. Here we had choose cone. This week's choose cone was kind of an interesting thing where they were splitting. We had to use the backstretch pits for bottom, or go up on the track for top. So here I chose bottom. Jacob was spotting for me. He told me late to go top, or I heard him late. So we start here on the restart on the top, or on the bottom actually. We're restarting. I think we're somewhere around 15th. So we kind of made our way up, at the start of the race here. The bottom lane was working really, really well until it wasn't here, and I think it was right around here that the top lane really started to come in on these restarts, and this is where we kind of learned that maybe the top side was going to be better for us long run than what the bottom was, but we're just kind of caught here underneath, just kind of waiting, again riding and just logging laps, trying to see where things were going to take us. And I felt like at this point of the race, we were running pretty decent lap times, especially for the guys around us. It wasn't like we were super far off pace or anything. We were just stuck on the bottom. And the top side was really starting to come in, and that made it difficult for everybody involved. So, yeah. And then here we are a couple laps later. I'm on the bottom. I kind of wash up there a little bit on Grant. Just overdrove entry that lap, and the bottom side, like I said, was really starting to go away. So I'm really trying to find a hole to get to the top. And that's what we're looking for at this point of the race, is just how am I going to get to the top and avoid this mess. You can see Tedeschi here on the outside of me, just kind of easy clear, and then there was a gap, so I shot it here to the top and got in. And then Grant has a little moment there, and he takes a really narrow entry into the corner, and just he kind of washes up, and I kind of wash down, and we create a big mess on the back stretch. So, um, I apologize to Grant afterwards. Like I said, I didn't realize how shallow he was entering that corner, I don't think, at the time. It's easy to look back after the fact and live in frame by frame, but when you're behind the wheel just going, you're like, oh, well, he's on the bottom, we'll be fine. And then he kind of comes up. Like I said, I kind of came down, I lost my rear bumper cover. We ended up having to make a pit stop, so we come in here, and our pit stall's on the back stretch, and it was really weird because I thought I was going to have another lap, but then they're calling two to green here. So we just get a little bit of time, just enough time for them to pop that rear bumper cover back on, and then we've got to head back out on track to catch this restart. So we'll come back out after creating that wreck and claiming the caution. I think we were 23rd, something like that, on this restart, 24th, right at the back. There's a couple lap cars ahead of us that we're going to have to work through to get back up to really where the rest of the field was. And at this point, I was just kind of waiting for another wreck, which seems to happen a lot in Super Series these days. One caution will lead to multiple cautions. So we have there, that one just seems pretty self-explanatory there. Bunch of cars got caught up in that, which, I mean, it was really good for me because it gained me, I think, about 4 or 5 spots on the field here, which ended up working out well. You can see kind of from my view, just a lot of smoke, got it slowed down, 4 spots gained. Choose cone again. This time, I think we chose bottom again, just to kind of see what we had. Restart, gained a couple spots. We started P13, and all was going well until I went to shift, and my shifter moved, but iRacing didn't. So I was grabbing the clutch, trying to get it to go into gear, and eventually we got it there. So kind of lost a couple spots there. We're just kind of riding down here. As this run goes on, we'll kind of settle back in about 17th spot, which, it's kind of a shame that we cycled back that far, but it really showed you that the top was going to become something to use here, which, in all honesty, it's kind of nice. For so long on iRacing, we've been stuck down on the bottom, that now having the second lane kind of starting to work a little bit and being able to decide where we want to be has been really refreshing. So things start to get a little jumbled up in front of us here, and I'm just kind of riding. Got Suze on my outside. Found a nice little hole to tuck in there, and then Terzak jumps to the inside on me there. He definitely was faster than me. Probably, I think he got caught up in that wreck, maybe a couple wrecks, but really doesn't have any business being back here by us, I don't think. He's super quick. So I tried to give him enough room, try and be nice and courteous, don't necessarily let him by super easy, but on the same token, give him enough of a lane to where if he can get past us, he can get past us. Top lane kind of backs up here. He gets a nice little run in, and then we get that wreck right there, and they cleared out just perfectly for me there, to where nothing happened there. And I was waiting for the caution, waiting, and then eventually here we'll get it. I think going right around here, the caution will wave. And this was a really weird caution too, because it looked like Riley was okay coming off the wall. So this didn't bring out the caution, but it was actually kind of towards the end of this that the caution comes out. He tries to drive away and he's just got no steering apparently. Goes into three and, well, he's going to end up on his roof. Choose cone again on this caution. Jacob was doing a great job counting everything out for me so I could kind of know. We went top here, and we'll restart, I think somewhere around 18th. So this restart here, I knew I was on the top side, so it was just a matter of kind of getting that bottom lane. After about 2 or 3 laps, it seems like that's really where the bottom lane would fall out. So just be patient, stay up here on the top lane, try and close gaps, making sure that nobody could really get in. And, just really learning how to run the top side again. It's been so long since we've been able to. And this turned out to be just a really nice green flag run for us. Uh, it's always nice when we're in Super Series, whether you're running first or whether you're running 20th, just to get a nice long run and be able to see everybody kind of drive through here. Bottom lane would kind of stack up a little bit, top lane would go, bottom lane would stack up, top lane would stack up, and it's a really fun track again. And that's not something that we've necessarily been able to say about South Boston in the past, when it's been kind of a single bottom dominant track. Cut the wall a little bit there. Now here you can start to see the bottom lane really kind of started to clear out, and anybody that was on the bottom, if they could find a hole, they were getting up to the top or they were kind of floating to the back. And it just, I can't tell you how nice it is to be able to move around the track and make passes versus what we've kind of had in the past with iRacing of just riding on the bottom. Here, we've gone from probably 18th up to, probably about 15th or so. Just kind of having a nice little run here, riding the top, enjoying life. Thinking that, we might actually work our way to a decent finish here. And then, we go into one here and all of a sudden I just get spun out and we catch into folds and I thought I had it saved and just kind of, I don't know, iRacing glitched onto him there. So another choose cone, we're back at the back. It happens in this. We go bottom again, just trying to gain some spots here. Restarting, again, towards the back, I think 21st, something like that. And we're on the bottom, which mean, it's not as big of a deal just because we're at the back, and you can't really lose too many spots being back there. But I kind of work my way in here and kind of force Daniel Folds into lifting. So thank you, Daniel, for lifting to allow me to get in there. It looked like we were a lot clearer when I was in the car versus now kind of looking at it after the fact. But here we just kind of knew we're going to have to start back and start moving our way back towards the front and hope that we were going to get a few more cautions and see if we could work some choose cone magic. And that was really going to be about the only way that we were going to have a decent finish um, in this one. So we go for a little bit longer, and then I think Terzak catches the wall, and Joel just really has nowhere to go, plows right into him. Terzak claimed it, moved to the back. We get another choose cone here, first crack at it. We're going to go bottom again on this one, just to try and get some track position. I think we restart somewhere back up towards the field. Not in a terrible spot either, which was kind of nice. And Blake kind of messes up on this restart, gets kind of caught sleeping, and there's a huge hole for me to flow into, so I'm like, all right, that'll work. So I think we only lost one spot here to Kyle Souza, which isn't terrible. And then they have a big stack up going into one, and it's probably a good thing that I lost that spot because he was the last car in that stack up on the outside, so we have plenty of room just to pull down. Choose cone here, starting to get towards the end of the race, is getting super, super dicey, super, super important that we do a good job with the choose. We ended up restarting here 14th, so we're working our way back up. I was really kind of thinking at this point we might be able to get a top 10 out of this race, and it was really certainly looking like it. Things just have to kind of go your way to get a top 10 in SARA Super Series. You really got to keep your nose clean, and our car was far from clean. So if we could get back up there, I was feeling really, really good. I think there's only like 20 laps to go at this point of the race, and you're still thinking like, all right, we got these guys stuck on the bottom here, we'll be okay. And then we have Blake here. He goes into 3 and kind of sends it, and then he goes into 1 and he sends it again. And I felt like I gave him plenty of room going into the corner, and it really kind of felt like it was intentional. And looking at it afterwards, you can see the steering wheel. He turns hard to the right into me. You go in car. I'll let you guys listen. There, it definitely felt intentional. I felt like I got an intent wreck, but I talked to Blake afterwards, and he said that his screen glitched or something and just kind of went in and overreacted or something. I don't know. I guess I'll take him at face value, but it just really hurt because we were running really, really well. We had a shot for a top 10, and now we're all the way back at the pack. Basically dead last again, trying to work our way back up with not a lot of time left in this race. So we knew we were going to need a lot of things to happen for us to be able to make it back up. Here we're kind of cruising. We're starting to work the outside to gain a couple spots here and there. Just kind of, maybe about 10 to go or so here, 5 to go. Not many laps left. Kind of resigned to finishing about 19th. There's just, while there's 2 lanes, if everybody's in the 2 lanes, it's really hard to make anything happen. And you can see Matt up here running without a spoiler or bumper cover. He's really making it happen. until coming up here in a second when he doesn't. Just kind of gets a little loose on exit and brings out a huge caution. We somehow just managed to avoid that, um, which really would have ended our night here. So we've come up to, I believe this is the last choose cone of the night, and Jacob tells me to go bottom. And I'm like, all right, I don't really know what we're doing on there, but he tells me to go bottom, so I go bottom, almost hit the pit wall there for about the fourth time. And we end up restarting P13 after that wreck and everything. So we got a really good restart here. And now it's just a matter of making sure or trying to hold the top lane off as best as we can. So we're going to give up a spot here to Kyle, which, he's on the top. The top was definitely a lot faster, uh, especially at this point in the race. But we were able to, just kind of come home with a 14th place. And like I said, if you had told me at the beginning of the night we are going to finish 14th, I'd have been pretty happy, especially coming off, what we've been doing the last few times out. It's felt really good. So head on over team53racing.com, support us on our local stuff. Head over to our Discord. We'll have that linked in the video below, and we'll see you guys after the next race.